Greetings and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be reviewing Madonna's 1992 release of Erotica. Now, Erotica I would say is a special Madonna record as it has a lot of context. She had been the top queen of pop for almost 10 years at this point. She had outsold a lot of her contemporaries and had multiple number ones, multiple top tens, multiple platinum and multi-platinum albums. She was up there with Michael Jackson in terms of success and fame. And in 1990, she released Justify My Love, the single. Now, Justify My Love was her first really sexual song. Even though she had always been known for being sexual and stuff like that, this was her first foray into that era. And it did really well with a video that was banned and then released on video single, and that even doing well. The song was number one, the video single was number one, everything was number one, and it was all about sex. So I think Madonna took that as a nod that the public was generally accepting of her sexuality and her talking about sex as a woman. And that's I think where Erotica kind of came to. So in 1992, she released both this, the Erotica album, and her sex book, which was a collection of erotic photographs and stories, a little bordering on porn, and that became one of her biggest success ever. The book sold 1.5 million copies, and it went out of print because of the massive controversy that it caused to Madonna and her career. So now it is currently the most sought after out-of-print book of all time. Still today, it is sought out by collectors and non-fans alike. So you would imagine that a book that successful, an album coming out at the same time, would benefit from the publicity and the scandal. It did not. Erotica is an amazing album. I would say her strongest overall, but is it really erotic? Well, same with sex being not very sexy. I guess Madonna wanted to be ironic again. Erotica has titles such as Erotica, Fever, which is sexual fever, Deeper and Deeper, Where Life Begins, Bad Girl, Waiting, kind of like a waiting for sex maybe, Why Is It So Hard, Rain, which Did You Do It, and Secret Garden. So there's a lot of sexual innuendos in the titles alone. So as a casual, fan, or even just someone picking up the CD at the store, you're gonna think, oh my god, this is just sex, sex, sex. But not really. I would say the album is more about heartbreak and pain than anything else. It's a very strong effort by Madonna, and it did not reflect in the charts as it should have. This was 1992 when hip-hop and country and grunge were really taking over. In fact, if you look at 1992, it's really not that great of a year in terms of number one songs, but in terms of music, it's pretty fucking strong. So you have Erotica, which was released in the later part of 1992, and again, her first foray into a full album in the 90s. Now, Erotica didn't do too well, the single. It went to number 3, and this is after almost a decade of having number 1 singles as the first single. Later singles such as Deeper and Deeper and Rain did okay, number 7, number 14, but it was Bad Girl, which was the third single, and it only made number 36 on the pop charts. Now, Madonna had 17 consecutive number 5 songs, so basically anything from 5 to 1, 17 in a row of those. So Bad Girl went to number 36. It was her first song not to make the top 20 since 1983 with Burning Up, which did not make number 20. It went to number 103, I think 107 at the time. So Erotica comes out, and commercially it did not do very well. It did go multi-platinum, selling 2 million copies in the US alone, and it got some critical acclaim. I would say the best acclaim probably from Rolling Stone, which was kind of nice to it. It wasn't a critical darling. It got no awards, no nominations from the Grammys, nothing like that. But it is a brilliant record, so we're going to talk a little bit about the music, which, with Madonna, you have a story about the era, and then a story about the music. And I would argue that they're both extremely interesting. So with this album, I did not know about it growing up. Like I said, it was very under the rug. I heard about the song Erotica. I saw the video as like a 6, 7-year-old, 8-year-old. But I didn't really know about the album. So when I became obsessed with Madonna in 1997, I went back and I got all her stuff slowly. And my cousin had the tape. And I listened to it, and I just remember thinking, wow, this is a really good album. I really liked it. And I still do to this day. I love it. I don't think it's nostalgia. I think it's just a really well-made album. Like I said, I really don't have any memories of it growing up, so you can't say it's nostalgia. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about the music after 5 minutes. So the first song, Erotica, most people should know it was a single, and she has performed it on a lot of her tours. It's a dark, brooding song like Justify My Love, only a little bit more for the clubs, a little bit more of a house beat, some New Jack swing there. I wouldn't call it either or, it's more of a fusion. It's a little harder to dance to, I'd say, than Vogue or Express Yourself or anything like that, but it's definitely a great song. It has a very sing-songy chorus and spoken lyrics. As simple as it is, it's an incredible song and very addicting. So yeah, it's 5 out of 5 for that one. Her next song is Fever on the album, a cover of Peggy Lee's classic, which has been covered by everybody from Beyonce to Elvis Presley. Madonna, I would say, does the best version, better than Beyonce, better than Elvis, by making it more of a house track. There's xylophones, there's saxophones, there's just the drum pattern, the programming is just brilliant. It's a great song, and it was later remixed for video release, which it was released in the US but not released as a single. So the video remix is okay. It's a little, it's well done. I like it. I would say the album version is better and makes for better listening. The next song is Bye Bye Baby, where her vocals are very distorted, has more of a hip hop beat with a little bit of house, a little bit of pop, and is about a lover saying goodbye to their lover when things are done. And like I said, the album has a lot of pain, and this kind of starts it off with that. Whereas Erotica talks about pain in the physical, like sexual sense, she kind of goes down the road of emotional pain as the album progresses. So I think she kind of wanted to get people with the marketing as, hey, sexual album, it's going to be, forbidden. But there's real layers in the album, and I think Bye Bye Baby kind of starts that off. Next song is Deeper and Deeper, which is an amazing house song that mixes flamenco and house and pop with funk and disco. It's not just a house song. It's not just an early 90s house song. It's one of the best, if not the best, house song of all time. And a very creative one at that. And the lyrics talk about being true to yourself and not hiding things, and which could be construed as homosexuals coming out, gays coming out of the closet, and lesbians coming out of the closet, trans coming out saying who they are, an empowerment anthem basically. Madonna's always been on the side of the LGBTQ+, even back in the 80s when AIDS epidemic was happening. She was there raising money when nobody else was besides Elizabeth Taylor, and sharing a chocolate bar with her friend who was dying of the disease. And I think that Deeper and Deeper is a celebration of that. Not so much her efforts, but just the efforts of the gay community, of the trans community, and of any sexuality that's not shown to be as mainstream as heterosexuality. The next song, or side 2, if you have the vinyl, starts things off with Where Life Begins. Now this song is a sexual song. It has a very porn jazzy beat with some hip hop elements and pop elements and R&B elements. To one of my favorite songs of Madonna, actually. It's a very simple song. Again, spoken vocals, very sing-songy chorus, but the music production done by Andre Betts is just brilliant. Now at this point it has been most Shep Pettibone, who did the first 4, and now Andre, who was a Prince protege, was coming in to kind of work his magic, and he does. It was just him and Madonna wrote the song, and they both produced it together, and I'd say it's one of the best songs on the album. Now the next song is an even better song called Bad Girl, which, like I said earlier, was her first kind of not hit single since her debut album. Now Bad Girl I love. It has a beautiful melody, lush, it's gorgeous, it's an R&B pop ballad, I would say. There's elements of both. Almost kind of sounds like a sped down house track. It has the kind of drum programming. It has its lyrics get a little bit dark about how one is too neurotic and self-destructive to hold on to a relationship. They have a sex addiction, they have nicotine addiction, they have alcoholism. There's these 3 things that are occurring in their life that basically are masking the pain, that are creating a toxic environment for their current relationship that they love. They love this person in the song, but they have to let them go because they're too self-destructive. It's a beautiful song. It's quite dark, and the music itself is not dark. It's actually very beautiful. So I'm kind of surprised this got those lyrics, because I think with different lyrics it could have been a big hit. But I love the song nonetheless. It's probably my favorite Madonna song. Waiting is the next song. Now this song is an amazing song, although not as good as Bad Girl or Where Life Begins. I do love it. Waiting was again done by Andre Betts. If Madonna does something with Andre Betts, it's pretty good. Waiting is a more hip-hop influenced song that has some jazzy elements and pop elements. Again, spoken vocals with a very simple chorus. I think Madonna was really creative in terms of making that work. Being simple, basically. Less is more, because that album is definitely this. Of all her albums, I would say this is less is more. And it definitely works on songs like Waiting and Where Life Begins and Erotica. The next song is Thief of Hearts, which oddly ends side 2. It's a house song, so it kind of takes you out of that R&B mode completely, done with Chet Pettibone, and it's a good song about an ex who is currently with their new lover, and it's targeting the new lover, like tear her to shreds, a la Blondie kind of thing. And it's successful, I would say, in its goal, but it's not one of my favorites, especially after, I mean, you have 7 songs in a row that is killers. Thief of Hearts is not a weak song. I would give it more of a 7 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 like the other songs. Words. Okay, so Words is the side 3, and it kind of reminds you of Thief of Hearts. So I'm kind of confused why they didn't put Thief of Hearts next to Words on the vinyl, but whatever. Words is very similar. It has a house beat that's not quite finished, but it sounds really great. It's about the pain of words and how they can affect you in a relationship and how they can help, and just the power of words. It's interesting to add that the demo is called Actions Are Stronger Than Words. I think it's better. It's a more typical 90s house song, but it's a better version. I do like the album version, just so you know. The Rain is the next song, which was a single, went to number 14, and I would say it's the most pop on the album. It has really no elements of R&B. It's just a lush pop ballad, very well done, and has a very creative spoken mid-bridge where her vocals overlap each other and they're saying different things. It's just gorgeous, and the way they do it in the video is like, whoa, they actually came up with the creative way to do it in the video. So I would check out the video as well for Rain, which is one of her most beautiful videos. It's a very lush song, but I mean, I could compare it to Wilson Phillips or even a little bit Mariah Carey compared to the rest of the album. But it's definitely the most polished on the album by far. But again, it's a 10 out of 10. It's a great song. Why Is It So Hard? Now, I would call this perhaps the weakest on the album. Mostly because I'm not a fan when Madonna does political songs. I think she's great at sexual politics and feminism and gay rights and all that. I think she writes really good songs about that kind of stuff. But Why Is It So Hard is just a general song about everybody coming together. And I don't think that's her strongest feat. I don't think Madonna tackles things such as politics very strongly. American Life being a good example, that the song itself doesn't really talk about American life. It talks about Madonna. God Control, a much more recent single, talks about gun control, but it's, I don't know. We'll get there. We'll get to God Control and we'll get to American Life. Next song would be In This Life, a song about the passing of her friends from the AIDS epidemic in the 80s. She did have 2 friends. Her dance instructor from her teens died, as well as a friend of hers from the New York City era of the early 80s. He died of AIDS as well. And she was there supporting them and trying to do her part in the 80s, and she lost both of them. So this song is more personal. It's not my favorite. It's not a song that makes me cry. I'm not sure. It's good, and she's very good at admitting the emotions, but I wouldn't say it's her strongest feat in terms of, it's very particular about who she's talking about. So it might have been awkward to write a song about that, but either way, I think it's a great song. 8 out of 10. Now the next song, Did You Do It? Now this Did You Do It song was released on the explicit version of Erotica. So with the parental sticker. And the vinyl doesn't have it, but it does have the song. So what they did was they took the music from Waiting, the musical production, took out Madonna's vocals, and they added a rap. from these two random rappers. I don't even know their names. I don't care what their names are. They ruined it. It's a bad song. This should have been a B-side. This should have been a compilation. This should have not existed. And it should not be on the Erotica album. It should not be on. It really just ruins the flow of a perfect album. Now, there are versions without Did You Do It. They are more expensive on vinyl, although if you just download it on iTunes, just don't download out Did You Do It. Again, it's a repeat of Waiting without the actual Madonna vocals during the verse. So it's pretty pointless. It's kind of an early version of Fantasy by Mariah Carey, where she took a rapper and let him kind of take over the production. Only much worse. Although Madonna, you know, she could kind of see what was going to happen, the trends and such. But this was not nearly I don't think rappers and pop go well together. I think pop is great, rap is great. Sometimes they can be together. Heartbreak with Missy Elliott, great. This is not that. So try to, if you buy the vinyl, if you have not bought the vinyl, buy the vinyl that it does not include Did You Do It. Usually there's a sticker on it. I've seen them. They are more expensive. This typically, which contains it, is like 20, and without it, it's like 50. Maybe cheaper on eBay. I've seen it in person. But definitely try to find the better version without it. Either way, let's get that up. Let's get that up. And back to the beautifulness of Secret Garden, the closing song. And she had already started a trend of closing her albums with beautiful songs with like a prayer, ended with Spanish Eyes. This one ends with Secret Garden, a very jazz-infused pop, almost hip-hop, some samples of James Brown. It's a beautiful song about kind of self-reflecting and trying to find yourself. And I think Madonna's really good at the lyrics and portraying that she feels lost. Because this era is a lot about being lost. Because later on she would kind of be found again with Ray of Light and find her way again. And I feel like in this album, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of despair, but there's also a lot of joy and fun. The album is fun, but the album is also has a lot of songs about heartbreak. So I think only Madonna could really make that work, and this was a perfect record for that. Like I said, without Did You Do It, it's a perfect album. Not really any other bad songs. Picking a best song is hard because you have Deeper and Deeper, Where Life Begins, and then Bad Girl. I would say those are the strongest 3 songs in a row ever. Ever. Like, if you have those 3 songs, plus Waiting, I think Waiting is pretty strong too. You can't go wrong. I wish it kind of would have put Deeper and Deeper, Where Life Begins, Bad Girl, and Waiting on one disc, but they didn't, so whatever. Either way, so the worst song is Did You Do It for sure, and I do love Erotica as well. I love all the songs, but I think Erotica just really stands out for me. Definitely pick this up if you're a new Madonna fan or if you're a fan of pop music at all. This hasn't dated poorly at all. It sounds just as fresh today as it did then, mostly because I think of the production values and the fact that they kind of went for a more scratchy, underdeveloped structure than a polished pop record that's very of the early 90s. Although this does, if you want to hear early 90s, sounds like this sounds like it, but it also doesn't sound very dated. Definitely 10 stars out of 10. My favorite album, my favorite to spin on vinyl all the time. I got this as a gift for my wedding, and I am in love with it. I think it's amazing. I had it for decoration for a little bit, but I didn't want to drop, so now it is just, you know, one of my favorite albums. Definitely check it out, and any requests anyone has for another album, let me know. I don't necessarily have to have the album in my hand the entire time if that's distracting to you, but I keep going like this. But let me know if you have any. I love Madonna, I love Janet, I love Diana Ross, Sade, Paula Abdul, and a bunch of other artists. Typically, we like to do 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s music. I kind of lost interest in music around the same time that Pussycat Dolls came out, but I do like new music, so any requests, let me know. And let me know what you think of the video. Like and subscribe if you'd like to. You don't have to, but you could. And also, let me know your thoughts on the video. And of course, once you do listen to the album, or if you have listened to the album, let me know what you think of Erotica. Thank you very much.